What's going on, F3 fam? Coming at you guys with a new angle, live from you guys being strapped up to my pull-up bar to share with you guys an amazing full body mobility and strength workout for you guys. This workout is going to be amazing for individuals who, for example, maybe want to lose 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds, maybe even 100 pounds or more, but want to really focus on gaining more mobility and decreasing the pain they have in their bodies. So this workout is going to be perfect for someone who's never done a mobility workout before. So as we begin for this workout, we're going to go ahead and lie down on our backs, and we're going to drive our knees into our chest, more so float them than drive them. We're going to grab right behind our thighs and just simply pull those knees in and stretch out your lower back here. Oftentimes our lower back's going to get so tight from sitting, being a student, being a home business owner on the computer a lot like myself, driving a ton. So let's spend some time stretching out that lower back here. One thing you can also go ahead and do that I love is these hamstring pumps that I picked up from Josh at Strength Side. So with this, all you got to do is go ahead and hold the back of your leg on your hamstring and simply work on straightening your foot. As you do this, you're going to point your toes back towards your head the entire time, keeping your foot in dorsiflexion there. This stretch is just a really good way to open up your hamstrings and get those puppies working and stretching at the beginning of this workout, because most of us have very, very tight hamstrings just simply from those patterns we described of sitting and being a 21st century human. That's what we're really undoing in this workout. And you'll see here, now we're going to work some rotation in your hips, really just take some time kind of unwinding you. You'll see Phoenix likes to lay down right next to me when I do yoga, so I got to get him. I tell him, get your butt out of here. He said, but Papa, I want to do yoga with you. And then he licks my face and says, but I want to stretch too. And then I got to tell him, Fee, how are they going to see that my head must stay on the ground here? And same with my shoulders if you're in the way, bud. You got to get out the way. I love you, but you got to get out the way. So as you guys do this, y'all, keep the upper body glued to the ground in a Christ-like figure and just let those knees float from side to side here, trying to get those knees together and as close to the ground as possible here. If your back cracks a few times, hey, take it as a win as long as there's no pain. Mine does the same. The next movement we're going to go ahead and enter here is going to be a glute bridge. So as we do this movement, we're really going to want to focus here on driving the hips up and trying to create a straight line from our knees to our shoulders here. So we do not want sagging hips at all. We want them to really drive everything up into full extension. This is going to be a great way to wake up your butt, which has been asleep for most of the day if you're like me, and an awesome way to get some extension work, a little bit of a stretch in the hip flexors here, and some quad work going on as well. Now we'll go ahead and transition into the next movement, which is going to be a figure 4 stretch. So if you guys suffer from hip pain, sciatica, any issues where they stem from a very, very tight hip, this stretch is a great stretch for those individuals to relieve some hip pain here. So we're going to take our opposite foot and put it on our opposite knee. So what that means is left foot goes to right knee, right foot goes to left knee. And with this, what you can do is keep your foot on the ground if you want to get a mild stretch, or it might be pretty intense for you where you're at right now, depending on how tight you are. And if you want to increase the intensity of the stretch on your hip, you just bring that grounded foot into the air. And if you want, you can do a few pulses or stretches like I'm doing, kind of rocking back and forth here to really open up my right hip, as that right hip is a little tighter, so I needed to give it a little bit more attention than I gave the left one. As you guys do this, don't worry too much about the repetitions. I'll give you some guidelines for the next few movements, but when we're stretching out like this, take it by feel. That's why I like to give ranges, so you can find out really within that range what's going to work best for you. And our first movement we're going to do a range for is going to be this tucked hollow hold position here. We're going to hold this for 30 to 60 seconds. So if you want to pause the video, go ahead, start your timers, y'all. And what we're going to focus on here is creating a flat lower back and getting rid of our arch while driving our rib cage down into our hips to almost Velcro our rib cage down into our belly button and pelvis region. And if this is not intense enough for you, or if you'd like just a little bit of a challenge, you can also bring your hands back to where you cannot see them while maintaining the same position in your lower back where it's nice and flat for a little bit of an extra challenge here. If you guys can't see, my shoulders are slightly off the ground on that movement as well too. And after that one, if you're like me, you were probably shaking and vibrating, so you kind of got to shake it out a little bit. And for this next movement, we're going to go ahead and stretch out our shoulders. We spend a lot of time in our lower body. So for this, you're going to want a chair, a bench, some sort of object around knee height. And what you're going to go ahead and do here is we're going to be performing a kneeling overhead lat stretch. This is going to be phenomenal for your shoulders. What we're going to work on here is almost like a hand elevated child's pose for those of y'all who are familiar with that in yoga. We're going to perform 10 repetitions of this stretch. One repetition is simply pushing your chest and head forward towards the ground and opening up your shoulders and then coming back up to where your head is behind your shoulders. So this thrusting and pumping motion here is really gonna unglue and open up a lot of computer shoulders or keyboard shoulders or driving shoulders where we're internally rotated a lot. If you guys need to do a second or third round of that, feel free to go ahead and pause the video and do just that. Now we're going to go ahead and proceed into some more of the strength work. Everything we're going to be doing here today is going to be mobility focused first and foremost, because you can't get strong in a position if you can't reach the position. So we want to get that mobility. But now these next 4 movements are going to be, or 5 movements I believe, are going to be more focused on strength and finding strength in new mobile patterns. This first one is going to be a dynamic lunge where we're going to keep our body in a lunge position here, and we're going to drive that front knee forward. It's going to start right over the ankle, and then we're going to drive it as far forward over the knee as possible while simultaneously squeezing the butt cheek of that back hip here. So we are getting a big stretch on that back hip right around the front in our hip flexor region, while also stretching our ankles and calf by getting forward like this. And for a lot of y'all, you're also gonna get some good leg work and core work in this as well too. So we're gaining more ankle mobility here. We're opening up our hip flexors to prepare for the next movement. And then we're also keeping a nice upright posture and torso here to keep our core working and really using what we took from that hollow hold earlier and applying it into a more dynamic movement. For this movement, make sure you're breathing the entire time as well too. Don't find yourself holding in your breath. I like to exhale as I go forward. Inhale on the way back. And make sure you check that back foot, y'all. Make sure the toes are tucked underneath the heel. It's a small thing some people might miss, but keep that tucked. So we're going to do 10 repetitions of that dynamic lunge, and we're going to pair it together with this glute bridge here for 2 to 3 rounds. Okay, so I want you guys, I'm only going to show one round. You're going to pause the video and do 2 to 3 rounds of both of these exercises back to back with as little rest as possible. For these glute bridges, you're going to want to get a 3-second pause at the top for each and every single rep. So just go ahead and count in your head, 1, 2, 3, and get a good squeeze here. So the reason why we paired together the dynamic lunge and the glute bridge, for those of y'all exercise science junkies who follow me and like to know the why behind everything, a lot of people's hip flexors, meaning the front of your pelvis, are extremely tight, and it makes it to where they're not actually able to glute bridge very high. You may have found this in your own workouts, and you're not able to get your hips as high. So if we open up our hip flexors and quads as well too with that dynamic lunge, we find that we're able to get a much better glute bridge. One thing you'll see I did in this glute bridge as well is I raised my toes off the ground to bring more attention to my hamstrings and glutes to put in the work. You don't have to do that, but you can. So now, after doing 10 repetitions of the glute bridge for 3-second pause at the top of each rep, we're going to go ahead and move into this hollow hold again. So with this, you can either hold that hollow hold again for 30 to 60 seconds, or you can go from this tucked position to extended overhead arms and perform 10 repetitions nice and slow for this movement. You guys are going to want to go ahead and do a circuit of the dynamic lunge, the glute bridge, and this hollow hold with the optional overhead reaches for 2 to 3 rounds, 10 repetitions for each movement. Super, super simple. And then we're going to go ahead and show you the next circuit that you're going to do of 2 movements. So go ahead and make sure you pause the video right now. Don't move on until you do your 2 to 3 rounds. If you guys would like to just do 1 round and treat this more as just a stretching video, that's okay too. Take this video how you need it. You may do 2 or 3 days out the week doing a full 3 rounds of each movement. You may just do 15 minutes a day just doing 1 round. That's a-okay. So now the next 2 movements that we're doing are going to be a squat with a 3-second pause at the bottom, where we're going to perform 5 to 10 repetitions. Again, working in that range here. And what you can go ahead and do is you can also substitute the 5 to 10 repetitions for a 30 to 60 second deep squat hold like you see me doing here. What I did is I kind of combined those 2 and did 5 repetitions with the 3-second hold and then a longer deep squat hold to finish off with that 5th rep. I like to stretch out when I'm in my deep squat. I gave you guys a side angle as well too, so you could see these stretches better and my posture a little bit more. Feel free to do whatever you need in that deep squat to pass the time. So 5 to 10 reps there, or 30 to 60 seconds. Here's my neighbors walking past the pull-up bar. All right, y'all. And now what you're going to pair together the squats with is a cobra press. All right, so we're going to get a great lower body strength and mobility exercise with that deep squat. And now we're going to go ahead and get a phenomenal upper body arm workout with a cobra press. We're also really going to get some awesome extension work here to get some more mobility in our entire spine. So for these cobra presses, what you're going to want to do is keep your hands right at the side of your chest or shoulders, and you're going to want to tuck your elbows in tight to your body. You see my elbows are not flaring out to the side and coming up closer to my shoulders. They're staying nice and tucked into my rib cage. This is going to make your triceps work much, much more. And for this movement, if you can't do a push-up, this is an awesome upper body movement to actually help you build up to doing a push-up with your knees off of the ground. As long as you keep those elbows tucked in, you're going to build great arm strength that will transfer over to building up from a knee push-up to a traditional knees off the ground push-up. One thing that helps you be a little bit more stable here as well, y'all, is to keep your toes tucked underneath your heels. 10 repetitions there. Pair it together with 5 to 10 reps of the deep squat or an optional 30 to 60 second deep squat hold. And you're going to do 2 to 3 rounds of both of those movements back to back. And that completes the full workout. If you guys want to be able to get that extra golden star, go ahead and find a pull-up bar or something like a tree that you can hang from to finish the workout off for as long as you possibly can. Simply hold on to that pull-up bar and let your spine decompress for a phenomenal finishing touch, for some extra mobility along with some grip work. So you guys already know we're going to finish the video off with some scripture. So today's scripture is going to come from the book of James. We're going to be in James chapter 1, verses 19 and 20, I believe. I'll let myself go ahead and take it over from here. All right, y'all, I am back, and we are going to be voiceovering this scripture of James chapter 1, verse 19 through 20 in the Passion Translation, because my phone does not like to pick up the audio well whenever I film these. This verse is, "My dearest brothers and sisters, take this to heart. Be quick to listen, but slow to speak, and be slow to become angry. For human anger is never a legitimate tool to promote God's righteous purpose." I pray that this workout hits you at the right time today to where you can go through these mobility exercises and not get angry for the day. Let this be something that changes the entire trajectory of your health, your mood, and your relationship with God for the day. I pray this hits you at the right moment. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next video.